Well, welcome everybody to the Eden Army podcast. I'm your host tonight, Pete Robertucci. Got all kind of logistical weird stuff going on here at the house, but good to see you guys already in chat. You're lighting up chat as usual. Miss Terry beat everybody here, I think. Guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Since the last time we were on, we'd like to Miss Meta. Thank you for your resubscription. We appreciate that. Look forward to seeing you guys soon. And guys, also do not forget to support Miss Terry on Amazon with her prepper related coloring books, as well as Russ with his second book in the Hanging Creek Chronicles. Keep an eye on chat. Botrix will throw those up, those links up. So good. You'll definitely see them. Although I did kind of dial down the Botrix thing. That was one of the recommendations from AI for the podcast. But tonight we're going to be talking about the DOJ press conference today about the fraud in Minnesota. Real comms. You might be interested in that. Also, an Iraqi national was jailed for planning a terrorist attack in the homeland. A mosque shooting. The media was quick to act, but now a little bit silent. I wonder why. Trump and Kamala Harris supporter Mark Cuban were on stage together talking about Trump RX. And what they said was a surprise, but not as surprising as what the swines over on The View had to say. Thought Massey got dumped. He got primaried out. We're going to talk about that. And who had Ebola on their bingo card for the 2026? I certainly didn't, but of course, the hantavirus didn't quite take traction. So who knows what they're going to throw out there next, right? And whatever you guys want to talk about, but also do not forget your prep of the week. But first, let's pay some bills.
Food for Thought is the third installment in the Eden Army Survival Series, focusing on one of the most critical elements of long-term preparedness: food. This manual breaks down the reality of food preservation and storage without relying on theory or assumption. Beyond preservation, this manual addresses the factors that determine whether stored food is truly effective. Caloric requirements, nutritional balance, safe handling practices, and proper rotation are treated as essential components, not afterthoughts. The goal is to move beyond stockpiling and toward building a system that functions under pressure. Food for Thought is designed to provide clear, usable information that can be applied in real conditions. It emphasizes preparation, discipline, and understanding over convenience. This manual is not about excess, it is about readiness.
There you go. Pick them all up over there on Amazon. These things are blowing up. Yeah, it's not quite blowing up as much as chat, but they are friggin' blowing up. What's going on, Mr. Russ? Russ is lagging a little bit.
I'm a lagging along.
Yeah, Russ is having internet
Lagging a
problems.
lot. That video you just just showed, I didn't see a single bit of it. Luckily, I know what it is.
Perfect.
But other than
Thank
that,
you.
we're hanging.
Perfect.
Trying to figure out whether or not the campground Wi-Fi or the Starlink is going to be the best.
Yeah, we'll figure that out as we go. But we'll bear with you. No big deal. Thanks for the Patrick's bouncing back and forth through all the social media platforms for the algorithm. Thank you. Appreciate that. I got Will's click there as prep of the week. Perfect. Excellent. Yeah, so guys, everything in the home front is pretty good. I know I was joking with Real Comms earlier, but everything's good. I should be heading up north by I'd say middle of not next week, the week after. So that's it. I'll be gone for the summer. Can't wait. So Real Comms, if you're ever in the area, the Birchwood, Wisconsin area, come by. Good. All right. Preps of the week's already coming in. I got a really cool prep of the week, guys, and I can't wait to show you. But we're getting ahead of the game a little bit.
I hope
But
I
what I
can
did,
not lag long enough. Yeah.
go ahead, not lag long enough for what? Yep. Dead
to
air.
give out my prep of the week.
Right. Uh, yeah. So, well, we do need to talk about some stuff. There's a whole crap ton of news going on. We'll get into the preps. We'll get into all that stuff. But I did want to talk about something of interest. The DOJ just went through a huge presser today, and people wanted, well, hell, everybody wanted people held accountable for some of the fraud that's going on in Minnesota, for one thing, but also some of the other states. The DOJ says investigators uncovered one of the largest Medicaid fraud schemes in U.S. history. They accused multiple 15 suspects in total, actually, of stealing nearly $90 million through fake autism diagnosis, non-existent patient care, and fraudulent billing tied to what, vulnerable children and disabled patients. This is the left. This is what the left was doing in Minnesota. Prosecutors say taxpayer money meant for healthcare was instead used to buy luxury homes, expensive cars, and jewelry. Watch this clip.
Good morning to you all. My name is Colin McDonald, Assistant Attorney General for the National Fraud Enforcement Division at the Department of Justice. I am joined today by a lineup of committed public servants who are devoted to protecting the financial security of America. Today, we are announcing criminal charges against 15 defendants in Minnesota for fraud schemes that targeted over $90 million in taxpayer dollars. Let me be clear up front about something. This is not the end of our work in Minnesota. This is not the end of the beginning of our work in Minnesota. This is the beginning of our work in Minnesota. The fraud here in Minnesota is shocking. Our cases today involve 7 different state-managed Medicaid programs that have been systematically pilfered by fraudsters who treated Minnesota-run programs as their personal piggy bank. One of the programs has been completely shut down because there's no money left. It's all gone. That was Minnesota's state-run Housing Stabilization Services program, designed to help the homeless find and maintain housing. It was estimated in 2020 that it would cost only about $2.5 million a year to fund this program, but it ended up costing almost 50 times that much, over $104 million by 2024 due to fraud. And because of all the fraud, Minnesota had to shut the program down in 2025, and now these services no longer exist for these vulnerable homeless populations. The same trends exist for other Minnesota-run taxpayer-funded programs. And now my message to the fraudsters is this: eat, drink, and be merry today, because your days of frolicking and freedom are numbered. We are doing everything we can to find you.
Boy, that old boy looked pissed off toward the end of that. So I said 90 million earlier. It's well more than that. 90 million was just in fake autism treatment fraud. 22 million more was a non-existent patient care. But the patients just didn't exist. Fake Medicaid billing. And you know what's funny is that the liberals are all talking about the high cost of medical care. Well, I wonder why. A fraudulent autism diagnosis scam, patient referral kickback scheme that was going on, and Feeding Our Future, which was one of their programs there to feed underprivileged kids and families $250 million. And there was a disabled patient exploitation fraud scam that was going on. So there you go. That's what's going on with your taxpayer dollars. 250 million plus worth, and healthcare is just so damn expensive. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Is anything actually going to happen with it? I don't know. Let's hear about it in comments. They have indicted 15 people, so What did I see from Patrick up here? Russ, I got you on the screen there. Patrick says the FBI announced a major bust. They indicted 5 top Chinese honchos for jacking up all the shipping container rates in the entire world. They apparently are Chinese shipping industry. Now, is that for the cost for transport or the cost of the shipping containers? That's the first I've heard of it. Nick Meacher's in the house. Good to see you, brother. Reverend Finn says Minnesota governor looks like an old heckler's on the Muppet. He does look like that, and we haven't heard much from him, have we? Since all that shit went down, all this fraud and stuff went down. Yeah, they got away. Well, I mean, they're indicted now. Also, I should note that one of the fraudsters that was indicted earlier, two or 3 weeks ago, ended up getting 14 years in prison. So she was apparently one of the ringleaders, and not what I expected. Just a white liberal Karen. Imagine that. So I don't think they're getting away with it. Some people now are the people that made the bulk of the money going to get away with it? Probably, because the people that really are getting away with it are the people that are in Congress, right, for that state, and the governor. Those are the
Absolutely.
people that are going to end up getting away with it. What? Melissa said Kyle Busch died today. Why do you make me have
Oh
to look
wow,
stuff up?
race car
How
driver.
did he? Yeah, I mean, I got to look it up, guys. Hold on. Did he die during a race? At the age
No
of
race today
41,
unless he got.
no cause of death was given. Bush's family said earlier in the day that he was hospitalized with a severe illness. 3 days before, he was supposed to compete in the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte. Wow, that sucks. Damn, that's too bad. So nothing. I wonder. I don't know. So meanwhile, Russ. Wow, there's Russ. Okay.
I'm still here.
Meanwhile, while the Democrats are ripping off Medicare and Medicaid and your tax dollars, what Trump is actually doing is this. He was on the stage today with Mark Cuban. Now, if you guys know, Mark Cuban voted for Kamala. He pimped out for Kamala Harris. But Trump was taking aim at the pharmaceutical industry, arguing Americans are being charged too much, of course, especially when in relation to other countries. But and I want you to watch this entire video also. But as the proposal gains attention, critics say much of the mainstream media appears to be focused on attacking Trump rather than saying, "Oh, good job, affordability." That's what we're arguing about, affordability. But they're too busy doing crazy stuff like this.
Thank you for having me, Mr. President. I think other than you, I've been the biggest proponent of TrumpRx.com. And the reason for that is Republicans want cheaper drugs, independents want cheaper drugs, Democrats want cheaper drugs, and together, I think we're going to do something special. What makes Cost Plus Drugs different is that when you click through TrumpRx to our site, not only will you see a great price, but you'll see our actual cost and that we only mark it up 15%. And what makes this incredible, Mr. President, all the volume and all the people that are going to come from the site, as our volumes go up, our costs go down, which means we'll be ending up charging less to people over a period of time. So this is a special announcement. This is a special partnership. 559 of those drugs are ours, so we're really excited to be part of this. Thank you so much for having me.
Now let's see what the swine over at The View had to say about this.
First of all, you lie down with dogs, you wake up with fleas. All right, that's number one. And you know, I like Mark Cuban. I've always liked him, but this is a mistake. And once Trump puts his name on prescriptions, we're all going to die. Okay?
We're all gonna die.
We're all going to die because he's making prescriptions less affordable. Now I'm going to I went over to Trump RX, Russ, is what I did. And I looked up a particular prescription that I'm familiar with, my wife is familiar with. And I will tell you that she pays, with our insurance, she pays $70 a month for this particular prescription. You go over to Trump RX, you can put in all the details here. And I'm not endorsed, they're not endorsing me at all, but I had to look to see if it was actually saving America's money. $70 a month we pay. This is what Melissa can get that for on Trump RX. Think we're going to
That's
change?
awesome. You're
Yeah,
damn
we're going
right.
to change. Because here's what makes it so simple, Russ. I don't know how to do it, sign up for it yet. We're going to, but you can get on Amazon, have it shipped to your freaking house for $13. Let's say, oh, okay, I don't have Amazon Prime because look, it's $124 otherwise. I don't have Amazon Prime. So let's go down to, oh, let me see what's local to me. Well, I can go to Sam's, I can go to Publix. That's one of the grocery stores down here in the South. Walgreens gives you the address and gives you the price. And this is what these swines are complaining about. Now, Trump did go on to say, if you guys want me to look something up, I'll be more than happy to while I got that screen up also. And we can go back to it. But the funny thing is they whine about, geez, doodle, so we're dying from them anyway. Now they'll just be affordable. That is a win. You're correct. What Trump did say, Russ, during the thing, and he goes, let's get everyone wealth, or let's get wealthy. And they took that out of context. What Trump meant was not let me get wealthy and let Mark Cuban get wealthy. He said, let him, basically what he was saying is he wants America to get wealthy again and stop getting raped by these pharmaceutical companies. But of course they twisted it, right? And that'll be the sound bite they play time and time again.
Of course, because that's what the mainstream media does.
Yeah.
You know, and later on in some of the other topics, we'll discuss some of that.
Right, exactly. Rev said he's digging his Medicare. Will says in other news, apparently Congress passed a bill banning companies like BlackRock from purchasing private homes, but they will just do it under a subsidiary right now. I don't know that they'll do it under a subsidiary, because I mean, I think what the bill says, or it might even have been an EO. I think it was actually, I think they did vote on it. You're right. Well, I think it said major corporations can't own us, or can only own a certain amount of single family dwellings.
Yeah, and that usually includes their subsidiaries.
Yeah, we're going to talk about exactly. We're going to talk about Massey here in a little bit. Yeah, I don't know, Will, if Will says that the bombing campaign is going to happen this weekend. We'll see. Just do it, is what I say. Let's get it over with. Yeah, Patrick, go ahead and dig into that. Yeah, Tom Massey, we'll jump ahead, guys. Massey is ousted. He was primaried out, so we'll just move along since people want to talk about that. Donald Trump's influence inside the Republican Party may be stronger than ever, regardless of his polling numbers, after another major primary battle ended with a Trump-backed victory. Critics and supporters alike are now admitting that Trump's endorsements continue to carry enormous weight within the GOP, reshaping the party real time. Look, these people didn't stand by. I don't blame them. You could say this is a political retribution, but I don't blame them. These people were not loyal to him, so he primaried their ass out. But the clip I actually pulled for this was from a great source, which is why that's why I had to pull it. But let's run this clip.
CNN chief data analyst Harry Endon joining us now. I mean, the president's saying, hey, I've got it in the bag. The guy that I've picked is going to win. I mean, what does it tell us? Is he right?
I would just say, look, Trump is the general of the Republican Party, and Republican primary voters are, in fact, his soldiers. And you can see it in the Texas polling, his impact of an endorsement. Now, this is, of course, before, of course, the endorsement came down. But look at this. 55% of Texas Republicans said they would be more likely to vote for the candidate that he endorsed versus just 36% who said no impact. Just 9% said that they'd be less likely to vote for the candidate endorsed. The bottom line is this. What Donald Trump wants he almost always gets in Republican primaries, because when you see numbers like this, 55% of Republicans in Texas say they're going to be more likely to vote for whoever he endorses, and that, of course, being Ken Paxton. It's no wonder the president's so confident.
Well, we're seeing this over and over and over again in primaries, even though people look and go, well, his approval ratings, it doesn't matter to those who are the core voters, who are MAGA all the way. You're seeing it play out again and again. Where do the prediction markets put the Texas Senate runoff post-Trump endorsement?
Yeah, you see this 55% right there, and then it is no wonder in the Kalshi prediction market. I mean, you could just see the movement towards
Good
Ken
grief.
Paxton. Look at this. On Monday, he had a 66% chance of winning. Up like a rocket, right? Up like a rocket. 95%. Houston, if you are in fact John Cornyn, you have a big problem. But if you're Ken Paxton, you have a big-time solution. 2 thumbs up, as the president likes to say. Right now, the Kalshi prediction market giving 2 thumbs up to the idea that Ken Paxton is in fact going to be the Republican nominee.
The prediction markets have to be looking at what just happened in Kentucky and elsewhere. Give us some sense of, hey, they look at this, they're like, okay.
Yeah, this has been one of the best weeks for Donald Trump when it comes to endorsements. You saw it in Kentucky on Tuesday. I mean, just look at this. Look at this. Massey's Kentucky 4 GOP primary performances. In 2022, he got 75%. In 2024, he got 76%. In 2026, look at this, just 45%. The big difference was that Donald Trump came in, campaigned very vigorously against Thomas Massie. And when you go against President Trump, as I like to say, quoting the great film Good Burger, you go in the grinder. And that's exactly what happened to Thomas Massie, because Donald Trump is just a figure you don't want to mess with in Republican primaries.
He's cleaning house, guys. I don't know what to tell you. He is cleaning house. Go ahead, Russ.
You know, 2024, Republicans stood up and said, we want the Republican Party, or the world, the nation stood up and said, we want the Republican Party in charge, and we want what Trump wants. Thomas Massie always never voted along the party lines, and I understand his own convictions, and good for him. You know, I do understand that part of it. But the voters, they don't understand. Not, at least not in the Kentucky, they don't. And I think what day is it? The 26th of May, they're having that runoff in Texas against who is it? Cornyn and Paxton.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a tail of the tape right there, I think.
Well, and that's like that video just said. He was polling at 66%.
Mhm.
As soon as Trump finally went ahead and endorsed him, then he was polling within the GOP, 95, 96%, right?
Yeah.
Rev, we have talked about this a number of times.
I'm glad you saw that.
Yeah, we
actually did a whole segment on that a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, and I don't know, hey guys, I don't know if you saw the news here recently, but they've actually they say they released or talked about that they've identified 4 different alien species that they have confirmed. And look, I'm not there yet, guys. I'm not convinced. I'm not 100% like sold on it yet. But the scientists are saying they've confirmed that there's 4 different types of alien species. I don't know. One's like a lizard type, Russ. One's like a fucking octopus looking thing. They say, I don't know.
Then you got Florida Man. You know.
That's exactly.
Sorry, it was there.
Let me get back to your gross question, Patrick. Gross question, new work boots gave him a horrible blister. So what should he do? He's going to switch back to his old boots. Yeah, there's an old hiking trick we used to do is we would take a piece of string and a needle, we'd pop it, and then we'd leave the string inside so it never formed back and it would drain. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying you do that. No. I'm not giving medical advice, but
and as far as boots go, Patrick, I'm assuming they're all leather boots, yes? If they are, take them, put them on, soak your feet in a bucket of water for a couple hours so it's good and wet, and then walk in them, during that day on your day off, and then they'll be more formed to your feet. That's what we used to do in the military. And then we had to shine all that freaking salt out of them.
Yeah. Whenever I get new boots when I was working out in the field, Patrick, I made sure those dudes were broken in so damn.
Mm-hmm.
And
why even wear them?
That sucks when you change new boots.
Yep. Moleskin guy. I agree. 100%.
100%.
And what's the stuff that you got for Dee Dee?
Oh, I don't remember. I know what you're talking about, but I
Yeah,
don't remember what it.
she mentioned it to me the other night. She's up here. And she was working during the fish fry last Friday. So
Oh, so she is at Summit this year? She was talking about not going back.
no, she's there. She doesn't have a camper yet. Because she was borrowing her parents' camper, and then they decided in the off season that they were going to do some repairs to the floor, and then they decided against it, and then they went ahead and did it. So,
Yeah.
I'm not sure where she's staying currently, but she was working the other night, working her butt off.
Yeah, so that's the girl, guys. I don't know if you remember me talking about it. She hikes solo everywhere.
Yep.
Appalachian Trail, the Pacific Coast Trail, but she did the Florida Trail
Mhm.
solo by herself, 10-pound pack. And she said that actually, Russ, she said that was one of the hardest trails she's
Yep.
ever done.
Well, she's planning to do one over in France next year if she can get the visa.
I keep trying to tell her she needs to talk to Jax.
Yeah, she really does.
Jason, funny story. We had about 7 ducks show up in our front yard today, and I go, if Jason dropped those friggin' ducks off at my house, I'm gonna beat them bloody, because they look just like the ones we had. They were too pretty to be Jason's duck. I don't know. Your internet's holding pretty good now,
It
Russ.
is now. I did a reboot and turned everything off. No OBS in the background. At least I got the sheet covering up all of Teresa's writing utensils. So
Patrick says he's gonna buy some moleskins. Yeah, the moleskins are. I'm surprised you don't have those in your kit.
yeah, you need to have. Everybody needs to have that in their kit. It's wonderful. It works a whole lot better than duct tape.
Take care of your feet, you little asshole. Take the trash out too.
Hey, I'll sick Mama T on him. That'll get him. He'll listen to her.
Tom Brace, 2-time Tom made it in the house. Good to
He
see you,
is,
Mr.
and
Brace.
I'm Tom. Make sure you put your prep of the week. And Julie, I don't know if you saw it. Real quick, before we go further, how did Roy's surgery go? Hope he's doing well.
Baby girl says, Patrick, if you're gonna be dumb, you better be tough. That's Jason says his prep of the week is dropping ducks off at my house. You guys are
Well,
killing
Tom,
me.
list them all, brother, because I know you told me about a couple of them. List them all. Why not? It'll be very interesting, especially considering we know Tom too of everything,
Exactly.
and we know where he was this past weekend.
Russ, it's probably going to be a long night for me tonight because Miss Melissa got her Wisconsin bartending license. I don't know if you know that or not.
I knew she was studying for it.
So the problem tonight, she decided now she's going to practice making all these different drinks. So I just finished one old fashioned. Apparently, this is a Wisconsin old fashioned with some type of seltzer water or something. So
Yeah, like at Summit they actually use squirt for a little sweetness on it.
correct.
And it's usually pretty good.
And then she gave me another one. So this could be a long night. If I pass out in front of
I'll
the
just
camera,
I'll shut it down.
appreciate you.
It will be a shit show. Won't be the first time, won't be the last, brother.
Melissa, I like the first one better, by the way, if you're still viewing. Okay, back at it. Back to work.
Back to work.
Back to work.
So
guys.
let's see. We skipped
the Iraqi and the teen
yeah.
shooter.
So let's delve into that Iraqi thing. I hadn't heard about that. Oh, he finally got home today. Surgery was Monday. Couldn't do everything. Laparoscopic, had to reopen the big scar, but he's home.
Oh,
Awesome.
he's had
Yeah,
he had surgery before.
Yeah, remember when it was actually during Hurricane Helene, he deployed himself up
that's
there to help, and then he had the ulcer or whatever it was burst. And so they were going in to repair some stuff there, I believe. And correct me if I'm wrong, Julie, of course.
Well, Julie, I personally, I think you're just working the man too hard. So you need to tighten up a little bit. Speaking of old fashions, Rev says Charlie Barons. Charlie Barons, if you don't know who he is, he's not a podcaster. He's a comedian that does clips on all the social media platforms. But he does all things about Wisconsin. Funny as shit. Rev says he has a video on how to make up. Now I don't like brandy, is a problem.
Mm-mm.
So I always
No.
go to whiskey.
Oh yeah. When I went up to Summit Friday night when we got here for the fish fry, and they're like, "You want They were like, "You want an old fashioned?" I said, "Absolutely." What do you want it? How do you want it? I said, "Woodford." They're like, "Awesome."
Yeah,
It
exactly.
was just regular Woodford, but it was still very, very good.
Miss Melissa says Wisconsin's always better, of course. Well, we'll be there in a couple of weeks, love. So
Cannot wait.
I could hardly get you to indulge while you were there. Don't tell me you were going to sneak drinking in the garage.
He's talking about him and Mike, FIB.
Mike doesn't drink too much, does he? He's all
He
business at these things.
Yeah, he does, but he got a little corrupted because he was actually in your spot, I think, or near it, and actually he was in the spot that you had initially reserved, and he that puts him a little close to the bourbon, and then of course we had the 8 quarts of moonshine that were there, and it was a good time.
Miss Melissa must be mad at me. She's using my proper name.
Yeah, yeah, no brandy for Peter.
I'm sure I did.
Well,
something.
She does call you Peter very good.
Yeah,
quite a bit.
Let's see here. Okay. You got that one. Okay,
Yeah,
so you're good to
I'm
star those.
thus far. I'll
Okay.
keep starring them as they go.
All right, moving on, folks. An Iraqi was jailed for terrorist activity on the homeland. Federal authorities are now warning about growing concerns tied to Iraqi nationals allegedly connected to extremist networks operated inside the United States. Investigators say the case raises serious questions about border security. Yeah, no shit. Vetting of our aliens coming through the border and whether potential threats are already inside the country. We know they are because we did that podcast, right? We talked about that already. But here's the clip.
Developing this evening, an Iraqi terror suspect is behind bars in New York.
Russ, what do you think how this girl looks here? I'm intrigued, a little exotic. I don't know. Carry on.
City, accused of plotting to target Jewish centers and synagogues in California, Arizona, and New York. CBS News correspondent Winnie Gillette has the details.
32-year-old Mohammed al-Saadi smiled in a federal court in New York City Friday as he heard the charges he's facing, including conspiracy to provide material support for acts of terrorism. Prosecutors claim he planned to attack a synagogue in New York City and Jewish centers in Los Angeles and Scottsdale, Arizona. He was arrested in Turkey and extradited to the U.S. after allegedly hiring an undercover agent to help carry out the attacks. A criminal complaint says last month al-Saadi sent the agent photos and maps of the Jewish centers in L.A. and Scottsdale, agreeing to pay $10,000, then following up with a $3,000 down payment in cryptocurrency for the New York attack.
Plain and simple, he was targeting the heart of our Jewish community.
Al-Saadi is also accused of helping to carry out 12 attacks in Europe, including on a synagogue and Jewish school in Belgium and the stabbing of 2 Jewish men in London last month. Prosecutors say he's a commander of Kataib Hezbollah, an Iranian-backed terror group affiliated with the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. A picture on Snapchat shows al-Saadi with Qasem Soleimani, the former commander of the Revolutionary Guard, who was killed in a U.S. drone strike in 2020.
So, guys, we talked about that before, right? You got to be vigilant. People are over the border. The Biden administration had an influx of people unvetted over the border. So keep your heads on a swivel. It's only going to get worse. Tom Brace was talking about getting back at the mayor. Russ, what are you talking about?
He's talking about getting back old Mr. Griff. Griff has found this little Facebook group that you can put a picture in and they will do AI to it like that.
Like that one right there?
Like that one right there. There's several of them, but Tom, have no fear. As if you read the comments, I have warned Griff. He's not the only one with skills, so
Yeah, so if you're not
he's a little worried now.
if you're not a friend with Griff on Facebook, you probably should be. Apparently Tom at some point ran out of barbecue sauce, so he was he was a little bit dismayed. And then it looks like Griff went through his retirement schedule.
Yeah, the problem is Tom's not retired yet. He acts like he's retired. He wants to get there sooner rather than later. No, that was actually that picture was right after I spilled the double that I had in my glass, Tom. If you remember.
Tom said he ran out of bourbon. That's why he was looking like that. And then apparently there was an annual chair competition.
Yeah, that's where that picture there is where I spilled my bourbon as I was showing it.
That's a good one, Tom. Look.
That is a good one.
All right. Oh, we're going too far now.
Yeah. But
let's just mention that Griff married out of his pay grade.
He definitely overkicked his coverage.
Yeah.
But then again we all did. We all did. But yeah, I'm going to start working on something for Griff. I'm going to get him. Don't worry.
Look, what I learned from the fire department is you don't even get involved in stuff like that, because what happens is, Russ, I had one of my books that I went to sign for a reader, and I had it at the fire department, signed it, did my thing, right? Put it on there, got a call. So I left it there. Didn't open the book up again. I shipped it off.
Oh shit.
Russ, on every other page there was a penis drawn.
Now, I can relate to that. So you're talking about that. I'm in, and this is a story of my great friend Bobby Mason. May you rest in peace. He was a sheriff's deputy over in Tampa for 20 years after he retired. Retired from there, was retired a month, had a heart attack after running. Went out running, came, sat down in his recliner, had a heart attack. So imagine young buck sergeant, E4 sergeant Sawyer is sitting there. I'm talking on the phone to, it doesn't matter who, and he's in there. He's with me. He's working with me, and he picks up the phone. He's listening, and all of a sudden he goes, "Penis, cornhole." And I'm like, "Damn it, Bobby!" Because we had the ones that you could release the button to talk, and I was like, "God damn it, Bobby, stop that shit." I loved him to death, man. He was one of my first supervisors. Just a great guy. We played softball together, and one of these years, I'm going to make it over there and pay my respects to his wife and go see his grave. I got two guys over there that were buried over in that area.
Russ, thanks for killing the mood. I appreciate that
very
much. That was great.
But hey, sorry. The story itself was funny, and I apologize for killing the mood. But you know how it is, man.
I know.
When you lose someone that close.
Speaking of killing, Russ.
Absolutely. Great segue, bro. Great segue.
There was a case of
don't need this paper anymore.
Of a mosque shooting. Many in the media were quick to frame the shooting as a hate crime committed by straight white males before investigators had released the full details. Now, as new information emerges that may challenge the narrative, critics are asking why so many major outlets stopped covering the story altogether. Here's a clip.
Less than 24 hours after the deadly shooting at this mosque, investigators say the case is still rapidly expanding. At San Diego Police Headquarters today, the FBI revealed agents have already executed 3 search warrants tied to the teenage suspects.
During those searches, we found and seized numerous firearms from 2 of those locations, including numerous pistols, rifles, shotguns, ammunition, tactical gear, as well as electronics.
In addition to the weapons found, investigators are also searching through phones, computers, and online communications after learning the two suspects met online. They're now looking at whether anyone else may have helped plan or encourage the attack.
If there's anybody else involved, either encouraging them or providing them with some sort of, maybe intelligence on the mosque, that's something that they'll look into.
Police are also investigating how the teenagers got access to the weapons used in the attack.
The guns were not registered to these individuals and belonged to the parents of one of the individuals. And exactly how they were able to obtain them is still under investigation.
San Diego Police Chief Scott Wall also revealed the 17-year-old suspect's mother called police before the shooting, reporting her son was suicidal and had taken several firearms from the home.
The mother did the right thing by calling the police immediately. I mean, she did the right thing. The question for investigators here is, was she doing the right thing up to that point?
Attorney Mark Carlos says investigators will closely examine whether the weapons were properly secured and whether there were warning signs beforehand.
They're trying to find out how they got the weapons, how these teenagers had access to these weapons, whether they were safeguarded.
Investigators say reviewing digital evidence, online activity, and interviews with family and friends could take weeks or even months as they look at whether anyone else could ultimately face criminal charges. Brian White, News 8.
So yeah, Patrick, you're right. They did talk about how they got the weapons. They knew that. Now, the reason that guy in the story talked about that, they're not sure if they're going to charge the parents yet, because if they were locked up correctly, according to the law, I guess, in that state, then there's no charge. However, if they weren't, then those parents are in deep shit. But the reason I wanted to bring that story up was because almost immediately when they found out that the shooters were white males, they immediately labeled it as a hate crime. Within minutes, and that just doesn't happen in other mass shooter events.
Oh,
For
exactly.
example, the synagogue that was shot up, right?
Yep.
It just doesn't happen. Now, as more details start to unfold, now I know Jason said they were transgenders. I haven't found any evidence of that. I know that's a rumor and all that stuff.
I've actually what I did on my research was they were very anti-LB, the L alphabet.
Right.
They were very out of that. And you and I talked offline prior, and about the only one out of the four that you talked about that they didn't immediately jump to, is race-based, whatever, was the Sutherland shooting. They didn't jump right in on that one. And that one ended up not even having anything to do with other than a domestic. Not that it's wrong, right, but because I agree that it's wrong.
Yeah, I agree. And Patrick, you're right. And they haven't released the picture of the other guy yet, as far as I know. They released a picture of one, but not the other. And I'm not quite sure why. There's something behind that.
I'm sorry. The name Vasquez kind of gives it away. I've been all over the world in 2 county fairs, and I don't know if I've ever met a white Vasquez.
Yeah, but there's got to be there's got to be details. There's some reason why they haven't done it yet. Maybe the family's not able to be notified. I'm not quite sure exactly, but they released his name, so that doesn't quite make any sense to me. And as far as the Nazi patches, I have a theory behind that, Russ. I have a theory why that faded out so quickly. They had the SS sticker on the cooler. I saw that. But the patches that they had on their vest and inside of their car, those are the exact same patches that some of the Ukrainian armies wear. And I've long said that you want to talk about a white supremacist, a master race government and society of people, the Ukrainians are those people. And how could we fund a war? How can the Democrats say, let's fund this war, when they know that the army fighting against the Russians are clearly white supremacists, in my opinion?
No. Yeah, but we, just like we talked about a couple of weeks ago, oops, they funded something.
Yep, exactly. Exactly, Patrick. That's what I'm saying. So that's probably, in my opinion, probably as news starts to come out on those particular kids, I suspect that might be the reason why they're starting to subdue that
Yeah, it's just
media.
you're right though. It's amazing how they immediately jump to that because it's one of their talking points. You know,
I mean, within a half an hour,
yeah.
Russ, they labeled
Oh,
it a hate crime within a half an hour.
mhm.
Now, if somebody shoots up a synagogue, the motive is unknown for
Yeah,
days.
for
If a
days.
transgender lady shoots up a Nashville school, Christian school, unknown motive.
Mhm.
We don't know what the background was. It's freaking ridiculous. Ay, ay, ay.
It's unbelievable.
I love it though. It's just so it's
It's
so
so
it's so
blatant.
obvious to
It's
me.
so blatant,
It's
you
very
know?
blatant, and people that aren't seeing it. Oh Lord, Kamala Harris is on the on the warpath. Her new book is out, Russ. So now she's
Ooh.
doing the podcast. I actually sent a friggin' request for her to come on the podcast. Zero chance. Zero chance.
Zero chance.
Um, but she's basically blaming the Democratic Party for not supporting her enough. Meanwhile, every time she got on camera, she stumbled and talked about when she was younger. You could ask her, "What do you think about the war in Ukraine?" Well, when I was younger, we grew up
Mhm.
poor, Russ. We grew up poor.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was it. Oh, and, and Orange Man Bad. Yeah.
And that's what she's saying. That's what she said in her book. And the Democratic National Party actually sent out a letter saying, "Why did we fail in the election?" And they're saying we basically didn't talk about policy, and we blamed Trump for every single thing that went on.
Mhm.
Right?
And they're still doing it.
They're still freaking doing it, and they're going to get their
Yeah.
ass handed
Yeah.
to them in the middle,
What's the definition of insanity?
doing the same thing over and over again, and expecting a different result.
Expecting a different result.
Hmm.
Absolutely. I mean,
I tell
we've
that to
said there are
Melissa all the
things.
time. All the time. And she goes, "Why didn't you tell me?" And I go, "Sweetheart, the very definition of insanity is." So anyway,
Yeah,
that's probably why she's calling me Peter right now.
probably.
Ay,
And
ay,
getting you
ay.
drunks.
Yeah. And the picture on the last page, that would be oh God, is her picture on the last page, that would be a shitty ending. Rev says, Rev, I don't know what to tell you, brother. I can't. And I noticed Patrick figured out how to get by the algorithm by adding space, or the kick
Yep.
moderator by adding
Yep.
a few periods and stuff like that. God help us. I'm
Yep.
telling what he's going to start putting up.
You know,
Russ, go ahead.
just it's just amazing that we were just talking how the mainstream media just they'll grab something or they'll do it subliminally, like calling Trump a general, trying to get North versus South. Number one, they really don't want to do that. I
No.
mean, and it makes me sick.
Well, and that's what Patrick,
The
I
thing
saw Patrick had mentioned that up in the comments,
he
and
did.
that's exactly what they do, and it works for them. Now, guys, you've got to remember that mainstream media before the Obama administration would get their FCC license revoked if they
Mhm.
sent out misinformation.
Mhm.
Obama changed that by EO. So now the mainstream media can say whatever the hell they want, and they're not bound by, well, facts, right? So
Yeah.
that's
So
why
we
people
need
are
to have
turning to
Trump
freaking
overturn that EO.
what we should. And I don't know why he doesn't, but who knows?
Spec ops.
Spec Ops is in the house. Spec Ops, I emailed you that stuff you were looking for, my friend. So hopefully you got my message there. And if you need help with anything, holler at me.
So man, what's happened? What happened to this whole we're all gonna die of hantavirus?
Hantavirus went away, Russ. It wasn't gaining momentum. It didn't do what they anticipated it doing. So they needed something new. They needed a couple things new. Now, Jason sent me a thing earlier about rabid ticks being deployed in our friggin' food crops and stuff like that.
Speaking of ticks,
Mm-hmm.
we had a blowout on our tire the other day on the side of the road. Never even hardly went in the grass. I picked 3 ticks off of me. Teresa had 3 ticks on her, and we must have brushed 2 or 3 off. And we were on the side of the road here in Wisconsin, in the middle of BFE, Wisconsin. We were south of New Lisbon, you know.
Yep.
And yes, Rev, I did wave as I went by Toma.
There's a prep. I got this prep here. Never. So yeah. So what they did was, since hantavirus didn't take hold and didn't have everybody freaking out, masking up, buying toilet paper and everything, now they need something new, and it happens to be the Ebola virus.
A flight bound for Detroit from Paris was forced to divert to Canada over concerns about the Ebola virus. And today, the Department of Homeland Security is set to implement new entry restrictions for foreign travelers coming from countries at the center of the outbreak. CBS News' Jared Hill has been following all of this for us and joins us now in studio with more. Jared, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Errol. Customs and Border Protection tells us that the person who was on that plane, who we've learned what is Congolese, should not have been allowed on the plane because of Ebola-related restrictions. The plane eventually made its way to Detroit, but not before a hectic few hours for the folks on board. Confusion on an Air France flight set to land in Detroit but diverted to Montreal over fears someone exposed to the Ebola outbreak was on board.
People were questioning what was going on.
Deborah Mister was a passenger on the flight.
Having a crew mask up when they were not informing us of what was going on is very concerning.
A U.S. Customs and Border Protection spokesperson told CBS News, due to entry restrictions put in place to reduce the risk of the Ebola virus, the passenger should not have boarded the plane. It's not clear if the person was showing any symptoms or the last time they were in the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is the center of a new Ebola outbreak. According to the World Health Organization, more than 130 people have died, and there are over 500 more suspected cases. Both numbers are expected to rise. An American surgeon working as a missionary in eastern Congo is tested positive and will be treated at a German hospital. His wife, a doctor as well, and their 4 children are also headed there. They're set to stay in a special isolation ward. Another American doctor has been taken to the Czech Republic. The World Health Organization met Wednesday.
The situation is a public health emergency of international concern, but is not a pandemic emergency.
In the U.S., today, new restrictions take effect for foreign travelers who've been in Congo, Uganda, or South Sudan in the past 21 days, an attempt to contain any possible spread. The U.S. says that it's funneling people coming from those countries through Washington Dulles Airport in Virginia, where they are surging public health resources.
Yeah. Is it just me, Russ, or does anytime the World Health Organization even says anything, do you just shake your head? That they have no credibility with me anymore.
They have none. And Nick said so in the comments. He goes, "What is interesting that it used to be that any suspected infectious disease like that would get diverted immediately to Atlanta, as that's where the CDC main facility was. And now, doing the research again today, for the ones that came off the cruise ship, they are being sequestered and quarantined in the middle of Nebraska, which, I guess for safety purposes, that's pretty decent considering the population is like 20 per town in that area. But, that's where it's at. But what kills me is the initial, oh my God, it's another pandemic. But then you got the rest of us going, yeah, what? We're doing this again?
Right, exactly. So here, and this is what I said during the COVID fiasco. I said COVID wasn't that bad, but they blew it out of proportion so badly that when something comes along that's real, we're not going to believe them.
Exactly.
It's not going to happen. We're not going to believe them. So,
yeah, it was all over social media, during the hantavirus incident in the cruise ship. And because, as Americans, a lot of Americans take cruises. So they were concerned. And it was a little bit of mild hysteria. But once they came out and said, no, it's controlled, it just kind of went away. And then, Ebola, they're like, oh, Ebola again? Okay.
Exactly.
What's next? Like
And
you said earlier, what did you have that on your bingo card?
Exactly. Got aliens, Ebola, everything else. You're right, Ramona. It's a cry wolf syndrome. Unfortunately, something's going to come along sooner or later that's going to be real, and us anti-government. I say anti-government with policies, anti-government policies. Let me straighten that right up. Or we're not going to believe them.
There goes TikTok.
Yeah. Patrick said, Patrick, there's actually I've learned this from being in EMS over the years. What you have to do, and this is my plan when shit hits the fan, you have to get completely naked. And you have to you need to stockpile of your own poop, and you need to start chunking poop at them like you're a friggin'
monkey at the zoo.
Yeah. Right. There's no race, creed, religion. They will all run frantically. You just chase them, you smear poop on you, and you run after them. And I promise you, everybody will scatter. That's funny. That's true. Patrick says, I don't believe anything they tell. Let me see here. I don't believe anything they tell me never did. I did at one point. I did. I was actually a Democrat when I first started dating Melissa. Believe it or not. But then
Put an Alka-Seltzer in your mouth.
Then I grew up. Put an Alka-Seltzer in your mouth. That's funny. Let me try that. I might put that in my book.
That'd be kind of cool.
Definitely going to put the naked poop throwing thing in there. I think I'm going to have Lakin in the Eden series do that.
And in all honesty, though, you say Lakin, but I can see Lala doing that.
Yeah, well, but Lala would actually shit himself.
Yeah, right there,
just randomly. Yeah, it's a true story. I got it up. It's a true story. I wish I had the video. I wish they had videos of us back then. Well, I'm certainly glad they don't.
Oh, absolutely! I am so
media.
glad we didn't have smartphones back when I was a kid. And Tiny, I had your back. Yeah.
Yep, you're definitely going to smear poop on yourself. Let me go. I got this, Russ. I did see that, and I do not agree with it. But let's not kid ourselves. In anything that's connected by OnStar and all that stuff, they can already do this, guys.
They can.
I'm just reading through text or the chat.
Oh yeah, get your preps for the weekend, folks. We got 32 people watching, and we're looking at about 14, maybe 15 preps. Come on, guys, you had to have done something. Even if you thought about doing something, at least that's doing something. You thought about it. Next, do it.
Get on it, because it's that time.
It's time for this week's prep of the week.
I'm going to start off, Russ.
All right, you start off.
You guys are going to dig this. And actually, I didn't even buy this. Miss Melissa did. And I repurposed it for a tactical purpose. This is an endoscope. It's a camera.
Nice.
And her original thought process was I could look down inside the gopher turtle holes and kind of get a little intel on them, right? But then I informed her that would be molesting the turtles and I could get a $20,000 fine. So I would definitely not do this. However, what I was doing today is I was taking this little camera that plugs right into my phone, and I was seeing if I could look around corners without breaking the 90.
Nice.
And then I said, well, if I can do that, let me look under a door before I open the door to see if I
you should be able to do that.
It worked brilliantly. $35 on Amazon, hooks up to your phone, and it has a tactical purpose. That's where I'm at with my prep of the week. What you got, Russ?
All right, so let's see, what do I have? I got a couple things. I mentioned this a couple weeks ago, and I went and picked up one of the chest rigs that you had talked about. So getting ready for you to get up here. But my number one prep of the week is this little thing. Okay. As a lot of you know, Teresa and I had a blowout on our tire on the camper on our way up here. And what this does, it sits on top of the bottle jack. This is rated for an 8-ton and a 12-ton bottle jack. It comes with the little adapter, just like so. And this fits on the axle. So you don't have to worry about that little bottle into the bottle jack, maybe slipping off. Fits right there. I 100% recommend this to anybody that has an RV or tows a trailer, because when you're sitting on what is that highway going up to New Lisbon, but it's 2-lane divided 4-lane.
53.
And what is it? 53. You're on 53, or you're on I-95 or 77 going through Charlotte, and you got 50 million people coming by you, to include tractor trailers that try to get over but they can't or just don't, and it has that camper just swaying. It's a little disconcerting when you're underneath it, trying to set the bottle jack and crank the bottle jack up. So they were, I can't remember how much they were. I bought them off of Amazon. They got here today. 100% agree with that. That's my number one prep of the week.
That's a good prep. Patrick 7, no eye contact, and as long as it's just a pinky.
All right.
Let's see what we got. Russ, you do the first one. You want me to pop them, or you?
Yeah, you pop them up.
Okay.
And I'll keep marking any. Will says he's stocking up on drinking water. All right.
Good idea. I saw a hack. It's not really a hack, but if you have any mason jars that are just like inside of your garage that you're not using, or weighting a pressure can or weighting a water bath, something. I seen a lady that was actually filling those with water, which would made a good idea. It takes up the same amount of space.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Yep. Let's see. Battle Gnome says he long overdue radio reprogramming. Good. Need to get with the real comms, since you guys are radio guys. Russ, here you go.
And before I read this, Tom, I will get you that information tomorrow in regards to some radios. Charlie says he freeze-dried strawberries, bananas, and pineapples. All are absolutely tremendous freeze-dried.
I've never had luck with pineapple. I don't know what the hell it is. I think I used canned pineapple.
Well,
and that screwed me up.
Yeah, canned pineapple, you got to rinse it really well because it's got the heavy syrup, just like doing like fruit cocktail. You got to rinse it really well. But fresh pineapple, it just takes forever. I think we ran ours for 224 extra cycles.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Patrick 7 loaded his level 3 backpacks, 3A backpacks, one for cold weather MREs, water treatment. The other was interesting items and survival. And the third one is a little bit of everything. Okay, so you filled up 3 packs and you kind of just varied on what you put in them. I don't mind like filling up different packs with different stuff. It's easy to grab a backpack or whatever and chunk it in the back of your car and ride. It doesn't have to be a specific bug out bag that has everything. You can get 2 or 3.
Yeah, and I mean, if you can do it and can afford it, the situation dictates. Like they've always talked about, you got your inch bag and you got your bug out bag and you got your, whatever bag. Plan accordingly. If you're only taking a 50-mile trip, maybe you only need this much stuff. That way you don't have to carry more stuff than you need to. That kind of makes sense.
Yep.
And who we got? Spec Out says he transplanted his coffee and tea plants. He bought coffee and tea plants at Mount Readiness. Someone was selling them.
Is that has that coffee plant going to?
He's going to have
coffee beans. Does it?
Talking with him about it. He's going to have to keep that in his greenhouse.
Okay.
And the tea plant is where it can do its thing. Is temperate, climate ready for where he lives.
Gotcha.
So,
Miss Julie, let that man rest and take care of him. Treat him like the king that he is. Russ?
Rev says he went to the range, but it's closed due to an earlier forest fire. Also bought more food.
I love that.
Absolutely.
Good deal. Two of everything. Tom says he bought 2 Vortex tripods so he can shoot coyotes up at the farm. Outstanding. He did a really good, he did a class with me for like 3 days. Tom, sorry, I don't want to
Oh, no.
talk your business, but from where he started to where he ended after the 3rd day was freaking night and day. It
Oh,
was amazing.
absolutely. I mean, we were there on day 2, and he was doing extremely well.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here what we got here, Russ.
He drone training for 4 days, and he may have bought 2 drones.
Oh, for the love of God.
I'll tell you. Well, I don't know if he might be bringing them with him when he comes up to Wisconsin. So I know one of the ones that he bought. I have actually seen that one when I stopped at Byron's place a couple years ago. Actually, after our first trip up to Wisconsin, and I know which one he got, and I was like, wow.
Tom again says he sighted in scopes and learned how to sight in thermals and shot some coyotes and foxes over the weekend.
Yep.
Outstanding. Where'd
Yep.
you did that on your property, Tom?
No, this was actually up at Byron's place. And he got to shoot some with Byron's son, who is on the marksmanship team in the military.
Oh, that's cool.
So they took him out.
Yeah, Russ.
Susan says she prepped some more work in the gardens, more raised beds going in, used a pace plan last night when my dryer went out, LOL. Had a clothesline up in the house in less than 10 minutes. Outstanding.
Good deal.
What would be the emergency one? Just FYI, I'm just curious. Primary is the dryer. Alternate would be the clothesline. Contingency, I guess, would be clothesline outside. What would be the emergency one? Just ring them as good as you could, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know either. I'm a fan of the old school clothesline. I don't know. I told Melissa I wanted to put one on our property up in Wisconsin.
Oh, yeah.
And she absolutely 100% will not let me do that.
Well, considering we saw a mama bear and her cub yesterday, day before, right there on right of way. Yeah.
I ain't worried about that. Not a prep of the week, but this is something that we certainly can do. Cheese doodle. And as a matter of fact, if you want to write that scene, I will help you do that. This is Real Comms. Says he found a new mobile command. Oh, shit. New mobile command center. Picks it up tomorrow. Then I need to prep it out for travel.
You'll have to let us know what you got, man. That'd be interesting.
That's freaking awesome. Yeah, pictures, or it never happened.
Yeah. So my question,
go ahead.
I know you, before we go on, you said P7 in the Eden book.
Mm-hmm.
He's a lot closer to Birchwood.
Yeah, that's a good point. That is a good point.
Yeah. So Jason says he laughed at Pete for buying 32 cases of bug spray.
He
So
did.
there's obviously a story behind this.
Because my buddy Jason, God love him. He said he's on the internet constantly, and he's worried about every single scenario. He says he's not worried. He just wants to be informed. I understand that. But so he sent me the box of tick things, and I go, look, and every time he sends me something like that, I go, what are you going to do differently? He goes, nothing. I just want to be informed. I go, then stop. Get off the internet. Stop. You're going to have high blood pressure. Right? Just stop. So that's the backstory there. Here's Kelly.
So Realcom says he bought an Airstream.
Oh shit! Nice.
Kelly says he bought Seals It vacuum lids for number 10 cans. So I'm assuming that would be, you have it open and you can't eat all the whole thing, and you put it on there and it like a vacuum seal on it. That's what I'm assuming. Am I right or wrong there, Kelly? Or actually, Meta, am I right or wrong?
Right, exactly. That's a damn good idea, actually.
Yeah, it is.
Miss Ramona says her prep of the week is keep our garden alive. First of all, there's a drought in Virginia, but it's raining
Mhm.
tonight. Thank God. Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't have a green thumb, Ramona, so I'll kill everything. And that's basically my motto: kill everything.
Mhm.
Here's one for you, Russ.
Pissed off arborist. He got permethrin to prevent ticks. Should have enough for a couple of years. Well, I appreciate that. You can send some up here. And
Are
guys,
the ticks bad up there? Have you noticed?
not thus far that I've noticed. Mosquitoes were really bad here in the campground the first night we were here, and then it got cold.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it was 36 this morning when we woke. It's supposed to be all time. I mean, the weather here is bipolar as Florida.
Exactly. Will says he picked up a second order of Holistic Homestead. The folks we met at the prepping up of an elk tent. Oh, okay, gotcha. It's a prep because of, and they were selling for research purposes only, unpasteurized milk and stuff like that, as far as I remember. So they were cool people. And Susan says her E on that pace plan was she's a redneck. The emergency could be hanging it on a fan and wrapped around a mirror of a car when I'm driving. Yep,
There you go.
make it happen.
Well, and
All right.
I guess Teresa's quick prep would be, when we were at Mountain Readiness, we were gifted some of the sugar. So it's like a sugar substitute by one of the vendors there that was also there with soil saviors and cell saviors, and she's been using that in her tea and stuff. So we'll see how that works out for her.
Well, the book is going good. Friends are lost, and enemies are even more so. So don't worry, we got it going. But when it's going to be released, no idea. Because it just keeps writing itself at this point.
Absolutely. 30.
Let's see what else we got.
That's Egghead. Egghead says 36. It's May 21st. Our low was 59. That was our high the other day.
That's why I love it up in northern Wisconsin,
Yeah,
right there.
and it has been pretty nice. And no humidity. I can't stress that enough.
I know they get like it's 80 degrees. They get 40% humidity, and you think the town of Birchwood is like, it's like a heat wave. They're freaking out.
Remember last year that one weekend it got like in the high 90s, and I mean they were shut up in there inside with air conditioners on. I'm like, y'all realize this is a spring day in South Carolina, right?
Yeah. Will wants to know from Egghead, how was Victor Marks doing in the polls as governor?
And I don't know if Egghead even knows or cares. He's trying to get to Colorado as sooner as he can. He's getting ready to retire and move him and his family to Colorado and be a full-time owner of the Colorado Wolverines.
Yes, we talked about Egghead. We talked about Massey. And here's the funny thing about that. I was watching the news today, and a Democrat was on. He goes, "We're getting ready to do to Fetterman what you guys just did to Massey." And it struck me as funny because those are two different circumstances. Now, Fetterman hasn't done. Now, look, we can talk about political retribution and how Massey was fighting against Trump. Fetterman's not fighting against anybody other than the squad and the radical leftists. So it's interesting that the Democrats are starting to already paint the picture of why they're going to try to primary Fetterman when the time comes. So
I don't disagree with you, Egghead. I think somebody needs to help save California, because the folks that have been in power the last a decade at least, have just absolutely destroyed that state.
Oh, absolutely. Fetterman, I'm surprised too, and so much surprised that I feel like if every Democrat were just to have a stroke, they might be better off. Carry on. Republicans didn't do anything to represent outside interest, aka outside country interests, sunk him. I'm not 100%. Well, interesting you should say that, because what he's alluding to is he's saying that because Massey was so anti-Israel, that those outside interests affected him. I don't think I agree with you there. I think his button heads. Honestly, I think his button heads with the Trump administration in the first go around over the Epstein files is what ended up doing him in. Which I don't quite understand because there has been zero evidence so far that Trump is in any way guilty of doing anything in the Epstein files. What do you got?
So Speckhouse Viking is not also known as Not Russ. That is Not Russ. And so Teresa and I actually got to meet Not Russ's wife this past Mountain Readiness. And so I just friended her on Facebook just the other day, and he's telling me, she said hi.
Gotcha.
Got to get that shirt made.
No, Patrick, I did not. I mean, whatever. Look, whatever your freak is, I get it. I understand. If that's what you want to do, if you're a politician, groupie, have at it, brother. I don't ask. Don't ask, don't tell. That's my policy.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I hang out with Jason, and I know he's flaming. So I'm good.
Griff pops in the last 5 minutes of every last podcast. I mean, he lives in Eastern Standard Time, and that short little midget cannot read a freaking clock to save his behind. About last 5 minutes, he comes in, he talks shit, and walks out. Just like a freaking midget.
Well, the funny thing is, we've been talking about him all podcasts, so
Exactly.
he's going to have to go back and listen to the damn podcast anyway.
Exactly.
All right, Russ, you know what time it is. Lead us out, brother.
Well, folks, as you can tell, computer issues. It looks like I finally got it fixed by turning everything off but this. Guys, you guys with your preps are showing the beauty of community, and going to the events, showing the beauty of community. Get your training. Find somewhere to train. Ask somebody where they can get their training and go train with them. Can't stress it enough. Other than that, Pete, that's all I got, brother. You need to get up here quick.
All right, guys. Yeah, we're getting up there, Russ. We're trying to do our best. Yeah, let's see. Griff says he was watching a movie with the wife and forgot. Yeah, set a reminder, right? By the way, Griff, I showed all your pictures you made of Tom, so I'm sure retribution is actually coming. Guys, look, you know the deal. Don't get overwhelmed with social media. Look, don't worry about how the world's going to come to an end. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, just get ready. Be safe. Can't be safe. Oh, shit. It'd be dangerous. Thanks for watching the Eden Army Podcast. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And remember, be safe. Can't be safe. Be dangerous.